Mental Health Monday on Radio City Talk with Mick Coyle.
Radio City Talk.
And following Mental Health Monday, Mental Health Extra with Jake Mills from Chasing the Stigma. Jake, great to see you. How are you?
I'm alright, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Mental Health Monday this week was looking at the issue of eating disorders. A lot of mental health issues that come on the programme, we discuss on the programme, suffer with sort of ignorance and stigma. I think there's genuine, simply misunderstanding around eating disorders, and I was really pleased to have that conversation to sort of almost bust a few myths around what eating disorders are.
Yeah, I think that was what was actually really good. I think the myth busting could, take that forward. I think that was a good one. I think that was a good approach to it. When we do our training program, and we talk about different types of mental illnesses, and we try and point out things that maybe people would associate as a mental illness, maybe some things that people wouldn't. And, working within mental health, to me, an eating disorder is a mental illness, and there's no real question about that. But when we're going out and doing the training, that's something that people often pick out and say, actually, I didn't realise. And this is something, as you heard yesterday, is affecting a lot of people, particularly a lot of young people, and particularly a lot of young girls. And it's something that we quite clearly do have to be doing a bit of myth busting on and getting that conversation out there, and particularly with boys and men as well. Yeah,
and of course one of the things that came up was that, you think, I'll notice if someone's got an eating disorder because they'll be, hugely underweight, but actually 80 to 85% of people aren't underweight, so it's not as easy to spot. But that sort of the obsession around food as well might be a clue as to what's going on. But the wider thing is that it's seen as a way of controlling a situation, and that control isn't necessarily about food. That control can be about any other number of factors. Which may emerge, which the sort of factors we have discussed on the programme, stress and anxiety and depression and workloads and, college life and school life and everything in between.
And that's why that conversation's really important as well, because a lot of people would think, I'll never be affected by an eating disorder, and it's this idea of what a person who is going to be affected by an eating disorder looks like, acts like, feels like, and it's as you said, it's about a control thing that can come from any situation. It's a mechanism. That's how it starts, often almost as a coping mechanism that can lead to this, and that's why it can happen to absolutely anybody. Anybody can develop that eating disorder.
This must be the worst. I don't know the worst time of year, because if you're going through a difficult time, but when you've got like family around and you've got an auntie who you've not seen for a while, but she's heard that such a body's got an eating disorder, and she says the wrong thing, and she's not doing it deliberately, she's not trying to upset, but I'm just imagining awkward conversations, granddad throws in a couple of phrases, because they think they know you just need to eat more, or you just need to stop doing that, or I can imagine all of those things being said. Really, really, quote, easy solutions to a really, really complex situation.
Yeah, I feel like you had a certain auntie of mine there.
What I've done is that I've deliberately picked a family
You've got someone in your head,
through who I have no issues whatsoever. I've got loads of great aunties, so they're fine. So I know that if I do mention aunties, we've all got an uncle like...
Yeah.
No. But I imagine this time of year when everyone's sitting around a table and they're going, oh, well, of course, are we even allowed to have food on the table? Saying daft things that they're not malicious in any way, shape or form, but it's just born out of ignorance, not really understanding.
It is. And, I don't know about you, but we've currently got the norovirus going around at the moment. A lot of people are unwell and sick, and a comment that a lot of people make is, a great way to lose weight, or everything around illness and sickness and about weight and stuff. These comments might be just throwaway flipping comments that you just make and you don't mean anything by it, but these are comments that can really hurt people. We've talked about addiction in regards to drink before, and how difficult that must be, because drink surrounds everything, particularly at Christmas time. Don't get me wrong, there's pressures that come all year round, as you said, about summer and beach bodies and all this type of stuff. But particularly around this year, a lot of it is around food, and a lot of it is around losing weight going into a new year. And this is a really, really difficult time. And as I said, people make comments that maybe they don't mean anything by it, but they actually can be incredibly heavy comments that will hurt people and mean more than what you actually intend them to be.
Yeah, I'd urge people to check out this week's Mental Health Monday. It's available on the catch-up service. There's a clip and a link now up on our social media at Radio City Talk if you want to take a listen to that. And Beat Eating Disorders is a charity with a website which has got loads of different information on there as well. They've got their helplines on there as well. They've got online resource too. And a nice little tip as well about there's a poster you can get on, and there's a little thing at the bottom which you basically rip off things. Little trick. Good trick that. Did you hear it? If you just tear off one, it gives the impression that that's what you do and therefore other people can do it.
Yeah, I used to do that with my comedy gigs as well.
I've heard. Well, I think it's what people. I heard that people do this for some buskers, where they put a couple of fivers in there.
Yeah.
To basically say, look, here's me rate.
Yeah.
If you want to donate, don't come to me with your 20p's.
Yeah.
I'm on paper money here.
Yeah, it's
I'm
like
on folding money.
It's like when you have a stand-up gig and you say tickets are flying out. Get your tickets now because it's going to be sold out up until the night of the gig when you say tickets available on the doors.
Yeah,
It's exactly the same approach.
I think there are 1 or 2 tickets still available. 1 or 200 tickets
might
still
be
available.
Might be able to get a hold of a few, but really you should get them now because there's a chance there won't be any. There's tickets available on the door.
Jake Mills-Withers from Chasing the Stigma, Mental Health Extra, following on from Mental Health Monday. Rachel Coogan joined us in the studio for the first time, who is the Implementation and Quality Assurance Manager for Chasing the Stigma.
Lead manager.
Right, just being promoted.
Jake came up with that title.
Welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
We talk about mental health on the radio. You work in mental health.
Yeah.
I think you're more than welcome to join us.
Thank you very much for having me.
There's so many different things to talk about from a mental health point of view today. I just wanted to flag this one up as well. The FA Cup third round ties will kick off at 3:01. Now, this is the Heads Up campaign working with the National Health Service. Every Mind Matters. So there'll be 32 games. Will kick off a minute later than usual, with the chief exec of the FA, Mark Bullingham, saying while delaying kick-off times by 60 seconds is a simple idea, it provides a powerful platform for us and our Heads Up charity partners to deliver a really important message on mental health. Nothing's going to happen in those 60 seconds, is it, Jake? I mean, nothing's, but at least it's another reason to talk about mental health.
It is. I'll be interested to see what actually comes of it, what you're going to do in that minute. I think a minute can be a long time as long as you're using it the correct way and not just saying, let's all talk about our mental health, because what is going to happen off that? Let's look at the practical things, and hopefully they'll be using that minute to signpost to the help and support that's available, not just saying, here's an awareness raising campaign. Let's actually look at the practical support that is available and let people know there is help out there, because at the moment, I think we're a little bit done with awareness raising campaigns.
They're talking about the Every Mind Matters resources and the Your Mind Plan tool, which fans can use to create a personal mental health action plan, which would be great if 60,000 people in a football stadium all went, oh, right, during that minute I will download this app. And then use that app, I guess. Yeah,
let's see what comes of it. It's certainly going to be a talking point, and if we can use that talking point to signpost to help and support, then fair enough. But it's not going to be the answer and the solution. But maybe it's something.
But I think it's the other thing is, well, football or the FA Cup will go, well, you know what? We're just a knockout competition for football teams. So like, what we can do is we can shine a big light on it, but then it's about the system to come around, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's why it's got to be working in collaboration and true collaboration with other people, and not having it as part of just another campaign. What you've got to do is you've got to look at the person who you're trying to reach, and look at them before the campaign and after the campaign. So before that minute and after that minute, and what has changed for that person? What are you providing them with? If it's just the app, fine. If it's just awareness raising, that's where I've got a problem. It's got to be something at the end of that is going to actually practically help and change them.
Well, I was actually aiming that question at Rachel, but
and
she
probably would say the same.
Exactly that, yeah. So just repeat the question. Sorry.
Exactly.
You mentioned football, and I kind of switched off and thought, yeah, you.
No, but I think in terms of the idea of going, mental health, but then it's got to be that thing of, but what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Like, how are we going to improve those lives? If it means, here are the websites that you go on these websites, and here is the information.
Yeah.
Listen to these conversations and then do something about it. There'll be plenty of people who just being part of the conversation is great because they're just sort of expanding their horizons a little bit in regard to mental health. But it's always got to come down to that thing of, if there's a problem, we've got to help you find the solution as well.
Yeah, I think as Jake said, an awareness raising, it's been getting done for years and not in a great way in some aspects, and in other ways, there's some amazing stuff going on. But I think, at the moment, there's amazing stuff going on across Merseyside alone in the preventative approach. So there's loads of really amazing organisations who are rolling preventative programmes out for young people and adults, and there are loads and loads of support available. It's just people knowing where to go, and I think that's what we're kind of trying to reach out to people and let them know that through Hub of Hope there's so many organisations across Merseyside and across the UK where you can go for support. It's not just one place that you can go. So very important that it's not just about raising awareness. We need to kind of try and prevent this. So we make a bit of a difference, and I think by working with young people and adults across the city, that's what we're trying to do.
Absolutely. hubofhope.co.uk, operating nationwide as well. Keep an eye out for that one. That'll be the first weekend in January. The games will kick off a minute later than usual. I don't think there'll be like a standard minute. I presume there'll be something gets said within the stadia, within a football stadium. You're not looking at your watch thinking, hey, why have we not kicked off yet? Presumably it'll be...
I'm guessing there'll be a video or something as well. But, at the end of the day, football has people. We're talking about mental health. Everton have just been drawn against Liverpool in the FA Cup. It's a perfect time to be talking about your mental health, actually, to Evertonians. So there is a platform there. It's just about making sure that it's actually being used properly.
Absolutely. Thank you both for your time. Welcome to the Jake Mills family. Rachel, that seems like an odd thing to say.
Yeah,
I've said the wrong thing there.
To say
if this was pre-recorded, I'd edit that bit out. Welcome to the Radio City Talk Mental Health family.
Thank you very much.
Jake Mills and Rachel Kergan from Chasing the Stigma at the Hub of Hope, hubofhope.co.uk. A bit awkward that one, Jake, because you've got your own family.
And a wife called Rachel.
And basically now you can go around for Christmas Day. You can basically knock on the door at any time.
Christmas dinners.
Borrow money.
Oh.
Help move house. Yeah, all those
things.
All those sorts of things as well.
Yeah.
In many ways, we're all part of the Jake Mills family. Thank you both for your time. Mental Health Extra following on from Mental Health Monday. We like to talk about mental health on the radio, but have you got into the conversation yet around mental health, around your own mental health, and maybe you've been approached by a friend who wants to have a bit of a heart-to-heart about something that they're going through from a mental health point of view? It's not always easy to do. Generationally, it's been nigh on impossible, but the world is changing and people's attitudes are starting to change very, very slowly. Part of that is down to the work of people like Time to Change, a wonderful organisation, and their head of programme management, Dominic Arnall, joins us on the programme. Dominic, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I genuinely think we are getting there a little bit. We're moving in the right direction, I think.
We are. I mean, what's really interesting is if you look at the press and if you look at the media at the moment, you'll see a lot of noise around mental health, which is fantastic. So people are opening up that conversation, which is why in a way it's slightly disappointing that when we brought out this research earlier today, that 3/4 of men wouldn't feel able to be open about a mental health problem even to their closest friends. So it shows that while things are getting better, there are still some areas that need quite a lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the big focuses we have on this programme is not just about the ability to open up, but also the ability to listen, to be the pair of ears that a friend might come to and say, I need to talk to you. How are you going to respond in that sort of circumstance?
And I'm so glad you said that, because actually Ask Twice Our new campaign is about recognising that it's not always down to the person who's struggling to open up. As our stats show, in the majority of cases, they simply won't. So really, we're urging people to ask twice if they suspect a friend or family member or colleague might be suffering with their mental health. Opening up the conversation doesn't need to be difficult. Just make sure you're saying, are you sure you're okay? And it can just be a signal to a friend that really this is a conversation that you're completely okay with having.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of people who are married will know that if they ask their partner if they're okay and they say they're fine, that's like a warning sign goes off, isn't it? You know, like you go fine, or you think, oh heck, what's happening? There's something going on. What have I done wrong normally? But with our friends, it's like, you're right, yeah, fine, all right, fine. Let's move on with the conversation. We've learned to deal with that, I think, within our sort of personal relationships, within marriages and things like that. But within that friendship group, we almost think, right, well, let's crack on now with what we usually talk about, the football or work or whatever it is.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a peculiarity of the English language in a sense that when we say you're right, what we mean is hello. It's a greeting. It's absolutely not expected to elicit a response, or we're not really asking people. And that's why we say, please, please, please ask twice. Make sure that you're asking again, and you're asking in a sincere way, and you're asking in a way that tells that person that you're interested in what they have to say.
Let's bring John Salmon into the conversation, who is a mental health campaigner now. But John, these are very sort of real experiences, and we talk about campaigns and we talk about stigma, but we're also really just talking about people talking to other people.
Completely. Hi. Yeah, it is about people talking to people, but I think what this study that's released today is showing that it is difficult to have those conversations around those kind of difficult subjects of mental health, and you know the importance of asking twice, allowing people time to actually come back to you to open up about their feelings is really important, and that's why this campaign is so important. That as we start to talk more about mental health, we realise that there shouldn't be a stigma about having these types of conversations, and especially as men, we find it really difficult, I think, or personally have found it to kind of talk about our emotions and feelings. And as I've started to be more open with my friends, it's actually been really good for all of us to actually start to share more about how we're feeling and when we're going through tough times. Yeah, absolutely. I guess some people would say, John, well, I didn't want to ask because I didn't want to say the wrong thing. Yeah, that comes back a lot, doesn't it? That I didn't want to say the wrong thing. If they said something to me, I might have said something to them, which which put them in an even worse predicament. What do you say to people who have that sort of that reason or excuse? Yeah, I think it's a very common feeling that people don't know how to help. And when I was ill with my own mental health, friends have since told me at the time that they didn't know what to say, they didn't know how to help me, but actually what they did do was being there and checking in on me and giving me a space to talk to them. And so I think if somebody is looking to try and help and support somebody that they think may be having a bit of a tough time with their mental health, is you don't need all the answers. To be able to listen, I think is one of the most important things you can do to support somebody with their mental health. During your struggles, John, what did it feel like when you were able to have a conversation, a good old-fashioned heart-to-heart with a friend? What's that feeling just afterwards? I think opening up as there was a real sense of relief, kind of a weight off my shoulders, because also when I did start to explain like what had happened, it's been amazing to kind of hear other people also share their experiences of the problems that they've been going on about their mental health. 1 in 4 people will experience some form of mental health problem within a year. So I think kind of around us, whether it's people at work or friends or family, there's somebody else out there that's probably going through something similar that you might be going through. So I think when I did open up, I was very surprised at, whether it's somebody who was a chief executive right through to my person that was cutting my hair that said, I've had some of these problems too. Do you think that's why when people talk about sort of mental health training, which when you go through one of these training sessions, they're actually really simple. It's like listen to what they're saying and then talk to them back. I mean, they're really straightforward, but I found when I did that, I thought it was really beneficial to think, that's a conversation I can have. It's not weird. It's not like a stigmatized conversation. It's actually just a normal conversation, which benefits both people at the end of the day. Absolutely. I mean, what we're seeing more and more is that actually if you're open yourself, if you feel able to be, or even if you're open about an experience that maybe a friend has had, then what you're doing is you're granting permission to the people in your space to talk about mental health. Particularly in a work environment, people can think it might affect their career. Whereas if you're open and honest and you say, look, this has happened to me, or even if it hasn't happened to you, you could say something like,
just so everyone in this office knows, this is a mental health friendly workplace. This is a conversation we want to have. You can sign the Time to Change pledge, of course. Other pledges are available, and just make really, really clear that that the place you're in and who you are as a person means that you want to have this conversation.
Yeah, and I guess as well, if you sign up to that pledge, you've got to live that change, haven't you? You've got to live that pledge too. That it's not just about lip service. This is about those connections, those regular interactions with people. Because if you have those regular interactions as well, I'm guessing, Dominic, that you'll start to spot that if maybe people are a little bit off or that they're not responding the same sort of way. And
it's really interesting how quickly it can happen, even in a friendship group. I mean, with my own friendship group, I remember I was out at Friday night, out in the town, as it were, with a few friends. Got to be about midnight, and a friend turned to me and said, "I've really struggled the last few months." What he actually said was, I reached a point over the last few weeks where I thought I was going to take my own life, but I'm all right now. And I thought it was an astonishing thing to say. This is someone I speak to 3 times a week, and I work in mental health. And he hadn't felt able to come and talk to me. And for me, that wasn't a wake-up for him. That was a wake-up for me. What had I done in order to show him that I was someone you could talk to? It's not something that I'll do again. I'm very, very conscious. I'm very, very conscious to make sure that people know that I talk about my work, which I guess is quite easy for me to do. I say this is what I do, and I really try and live those values. And I think it would be helpful for all of us.
If anyone listening to this now has just had a sort of felt almost like a wave of panic, thinking, "Oh my word, what on earth would I do in that situation?" If people want to educate themselves and just get a little bit of brief advice, you mentioned Time to Change, fantastic website on there. What's the best place for them to go to sort of get the heads up, if you like, about how to respond in a circumstance like that?
So how to respond? The trouble is, in a way, there is no blueprint. What I'd say is just listen. The most powerful thing you can do, whether or not you understand, whether or not it's something you've been through, is just to say, "Are you okay?" and to listen to what they say. If you'd like more information, you can find it off the Mind, or the Time to Change, or the Rethink Mental Illness website. But I really don't want people to think that that's 100% necessary to start having those conversations. You can start having them right now.
Absolutely. Thank you both for your time this morning. Really appreciate you joining us on the programme. Dominic Arnall, Head of Programme Management at Time to Change, do wonderful work as well. Campaigner John Salmon as well, joining us on Radio City Talk.
Mental Health Monday with Mick Coyle.
On Radio City Talk.